Look around and ask any Nigerian what the country's major challenge is. They would need only 5 seconds to scream the word corruption. Nigerians worldwide see their home country as one of the most corrupt in the world, hampering its development and potential in nation's comity. The country has lived through the wastefulness and mismanagement of Shehu Shagari years, the greediness of the military regimes, and the reprehensible period of Sani Abacha's oppressive and kleptomaniac regime. Even Nigeria's democratic presidents from Obasanjo to Goodluck Jonathan and now Muhammadu Buhari have not been able to completely extricate themselves and their allies from the widespread and tight web of corruption. As proof of how enmeshed Nigeria is with corruption, President Muhammadu Buhari rode to victory in 2015 on the back of grounds that he would win the battle against Boko Haram insurgents but significantly deal a mortal blow to corruption in Nigeria. The electorate was wowed by the prospect, and even underage Nigerians, trusting the history of Buhari's time as a military leader, was prematurely digging the grave for corruption to be buried in Nigeria's past. As time passed, the hope of corruption leaving Nigeria anytime soon became consigned to dusty shelves. Unsurprisingly, in rankings by Transparency International in January of 2021, Nigeria dropped 3 places and scored lower in the number of points than its previous year's record. The stats show that Nigeria scored 25 over 100 and now ranks 149 out of 180 countries. In 2019, Nigeria polled 26 points and ranked 146 out of 180. Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index only indicates that corruption is perceived to have worsened in the country within the last 1 year. Hello guys, it's Ikoyi here for African Glitz. News of Nigeria's recent ranking has been met with the federal government's usual discredit and scathing attacks. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu in multiple interviews faulted the rankings, saying it does not reflect the realities of the fight against corruption by the Buhari government. A statement issued in Abuja by the Ministry of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, called TI's integrity into question, claiming that its low ranking did not truly reflect its great strides fight against corruption. Lai Mohammed, in his characteristic mode of deflecting criticism and making mountains of criticism seem less of an obstacle, said the implementation of the various reforms, especially in the ease of doing business, was expected to yield positive outcomes in the country's corruption perception and other relevant assessments in the next 12 to 24 months. According to the minister, 40% of the country's corruption perception survey indices relate to business processing and general public service delivery processes. But has the Buhari administration really been fighting corruption as it promised? If the president is clean, hasn't his reputation as a man of integrity been stained by his allies who appear to be neck deep in scandal? The bookmakers tend to bet on the negative, and here's a list of corruption scandals that have rocked the administration and have been left unattended to. The grass cutting scandal. Appointed as Secretary to the Government of the Federation on August 27, 2015 by President Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. Babaji Lawal left the role untimely in 2017 after being indicted in one of the biggest and most talked about corruption cases in recent times, now known as the grass cutting scandal. A Senate committee led by Senator Shehu Shagari on the mounting humanitarian crisis in the Northeast accused Lawal of shadily handling and assigning contracts awarded by the Presidential Initiative for the Northeast, PINE. The Sani report claims that Lawal's firm was awarded an inflated contract worth over 200 million naira to clear invasive plant species at a camp for internally displaced persons (IDPs) in Yobe State. The committee further revealed that when the contract was awarded in March 2016, Mr. Lawal was still the director of Rolovision and only resigned in September 2016. Awarding yourself inflated or phantom contracts is one thing. The other shocking part of the story that emerged from the committee was a claim that about 20 companies listed as having been awarded contracts under PINE, supervised by Babaji, may be ghost firms after all. Like a school truant, Lawal found a way to evade Senate summons twice. Although President Buhari initially cleared of any wrongdoing, he was eased out of the position eventually after a 3-person panel led by Vice President Yemi Osimbajo indicted him. At the time, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission rearranged the former secretary to the government of the Federation in 2019, the grass-cutting contract fraud had found to have risen to the tune of about 540 million naira. While most may praise the president for eventually sacking Lawan, there is no doubt that the president caved to pressure from millions of Nigerians to do so and would probably have allowed him to stay on as a top government official. $43 million in Ikoyi Towers. Remember Osborne Street, Ikoyi, Lagos? Trust you haven't forgotten how $43 million was found in an apartment belonging to the Nigerian Intelligence Agency's former Director General, Ayo Oke. A combined team of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and other security agencies on April 12 raided Oke's apartment following a tip-off and discovered stacks of $43 million in US dollars, sealed and hidden in various wardrobes and cabinets. They also found $36,000 worth of British pounds and $75,000 worth of Nigerian naira. The funds were suspected to be linked to unlawful activities. Still, the NIA in Oke's defense insisted that Buhari's National Security Advisor, General Babagana Munguno, was duly informed of the cash when he took it over as the NSA. The president suspended Oke, but 3 years down the line, everyone is asking where is Oke? Apparently, the man and his wife jet out of the country before starting his trial in 2019. If they didn't get help, how come no one knows where they are? Well, as it is with most corruption cases, Oke's file might need to gather as much dust as possible in its shelf. The Gandola Man. In the North's heart, Kano remains one of the most buoyant economies, with its relative peace paving the way for huge foreign and local investments. Ganduje, a two-time deputy governor and now second-term governor, has been identified as a loyal, unbending supporter of President Buhari. In October of 2018, a scandalous clip emerged online showing the Kano state governor stuffing wads of dollars in what was said to be bribe payments from public works contractors into his pocket. Published online by a media outfit called Daily Nigerian, the 2-minute video was recorded in 2017. It was described as a sting operation to beam in a spotlight on the governor's alleged penchant for contract racketeering. Ganduje is still governor of Kano State with immunity from arrest despite outcries. But how has Buhari, the renowned anti-corruption Caesar, reacted? In 2019, during campaigns for a second term for both men, the president appeared quite happy to be with the governor and endorsed his re-election campaign in Kano, even calling him a good man. In his thoughts that the president did not want to offend the sensibilities of the Kano state governor, who reportedly spent huge funds to help the president get over 1 million votes to solidify his re-election bid. $1 billion excess crude account fund unaccounted for. Goodluck Jonathan needed to be kicked out before we caught wind of the $2 billion Colonel Sambo Dasuki shared with several politicians in a bid to help the erstwhile president secure a second term. But the Buhari administration has continued the tradition of allotting funds to security agencies without auditing or holding them accountable. This has fueled emerging scandals about top service chiefs enriching themselves through the fight against Boko Haram and bandits. Till now, it remains totally unclear how the $1 billion released by the president from the country's crude excess account to fund the fight against Boko Haram has been spent. When challenged by the opposition People's Democratic Party, presidential spokesman Garba Shehu said a bill of $490 million was paid for dozen Super Tucano fighter aircraft in a direct government-to-government transaction with the United States. At the same time, various unnamed military procurements were made. Still, how the entire funds were spent remains vague. Unremitted funds. Ministries, departments and agencies in Nigeria have a long-term flaw of not reporting and returning revenues. Thus, it was discovered that the government lost trillions of funds for unexecuted projects, prompting the introduction of the Treasury Single Account. The Buhari administration's spotlight is formally implementing the Treasury Single Account and enforcing government ministries, agencies and parastatals to close hundreds of off-book commercial bank accounts that had been used to waylay public money. The TSA's introduction saw the dramatic rise in remittances by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, more than 50 to 60 million naira annually to about 3.5 billion naira in 2020. Sounds like a great job, but recent revelations betray that thought. Last year, the Fiscal Responsibility Commission report showed that about 122 government ministries, departments and agencies still did not remit revenue to the consolidated revenue funds of the federal government. What's shocking is the projection that the unremitted funds stand at about 1.2 trillion naira annually. Since this revelation was made, the president has been relatively quiet about the subject. Osimbajo got billions for 2019 polls. Buhari is not the only man considered incorruptible. Many see the Vice President Yemi Osimbajo in that light. Howbeit, the country's number 2 man has been messed up by several allegations, one of them by a former party member, Timmy Frank. Timmy Frank alleges that Osimbajo got over 90 billion naira from the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) to fund the 2019 elections. The vice president threatened to sue Frank, which they did, but it appears the case has now morphed into a low profile. That's, however, not the only allegation against the vice president. In 2019, he was asked to explain his role in a 33 billion naira fraud involving the National Emergency Management Agency. Osimbajo was said to have been accused of approving the withdrawal of 5.8 billion naira without legislative consent for procurement of gains under the Emergency Intervention on Food Security in the Northeast. Still, none of the Northeast 6 states received any grains from NEMA's emergency intervention. Despite the poor rating by Transparency International and the negative perception most countries have about Nigeria, the Buhari administration is credited with initiating hundreds of anti-corruption prosecutions, most of which are still in courts. The administration still boasts of securing the high-profile jail term for ex-governor Joshua Dariye of Plateau State. A 7th senator in 2018 was sentenced to 14 years in prison over criminal breach of trust and 2 years of misappropriation of about 1.162 billion naira ecological funds. Other high-profile convictions for corruption include former governors Jolly Nyame of Taraba and James Ngilari of Adamawa. The president and his party, the All Progressive Congress, have been accused of protecting corrupt individuals in their circle. A high-profile member, Orji Uzor Kalu, escaped a full jail term by whiskers and is still battling to prevent a return to jail. But the question persists: does the TI rating reflect the true depth of perception about corruption in Nigeria? We would also like you to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 President Buhari's anti-corruption fight since he took over in 2015. Please share your thoughts with us below in the comment section. Until next time, stay safe.